TWT in the building today with Tuesdays with Tawana. It's good to be in the place today on this beautiful Tuesday. Grateful for another opportunity to commune with you. Grateful for another opportunity to build community. Just absolutely grateful. Just grateful. Hey, Mother Carolyn. Yes, she says she's ready for TWT. Yes, yes, yes. What's up? Hey. What's up, Tony? What is going on? Grateful, grateful. Tammy in the building. Listen, I'm so bad with this phone. I was going to text you just to say I missed you on TWT. And here you are. I'm so grateful. Yeah. So, welcome to TWT, a place where we build community one episode at a time. For those just joining in, if you watch this later or you listen on the podcast version, you'll hear me shout out some folk and insert some comments into this narrative because we're all about building community and not just hearing my voice for 30 minutes, but hearing as many voices and incorporating as many voices as possible, divergent voices, because even in a diverse or divergent or different voices, we can still come together and build community because that's what we're about, honoring each other, seeing each other, hearing each other, loving each other with unconditional positive regard, coming together to hear one another, to share, to exchange with this curiosity that causes me to dig just a little deeper into the realm of another, because my experience is my experience and it might be different from your experience. And I may have my thoughts and presumptions, but I am curious about what you think and what you're feeling and what you're experiencing, so we can then mesh those experiences together and build community. What's up, Reverend Christina in the building? Yes, Tuesdays with Tawana. I need to have you sing that for me, Christina, with your beautiful, beautiful voice. Yes, ashe, 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 oh. We're calling in folk. We are honoring the ancestors who have spoke, who is speaking, who are present with us to guide us and lead us during these trying times. I am so grateful for those that have gone before us, that have taught us some valuable lessons, and I hope that we will have many Sankofa moments where we'll go back and fetch it and bring forth that which builds community, that which loves us, that which inserts dignity and humanity into these very trying times. Jules, good to see you. Yes, I am back and good to see you. You always put a smile on my face. Bobby is in the building. What's up? Happy to see you. Happy that you are back. Yes. So let's get it popping. Let's get it popping. Let me just honor where I am right now emotionally, with everything going on in this world. Even the best of us, the strongest of the strong, are having a hard time navigating this space. The hate that's happening, the anger, the frustration, COVID, the dishonoring of our beloveds, racism, the misunderstanding and misnomer of CRT, the reproductive injustice, the hate that's going on with these horrible politicians, some of them, not all of them, some, because y'all know how I do with blanket statements. Blanket statements are detrimental to our growth and our our well-being, and it takes away our dignity. It takes away who we are, because blanket statements then bring us together into this one monolithic existence, and that's just not who we are. We are diverse, we are dynamic, we are different, and yet similar. We have similar attributes and things that bring us together, like love, peace, hope, resilience, energy, unconditional positive regard. All of those things bring us together in the midst of our differences. Hey, I am back and you're back. I'm so grateful, so grateful. Y'all bring me joy. Y'all bring me joy. Um, During these trying times, you bring me joy, because the moment that governors are signing bills to remove math out of a school system because of CRT, that's problematic for me. For young black beloveds being shot and killed in the back with no justice and no type of punishment for the murderer, that is problematic for me. When we have billionaires buying Twitter, so now all of these billionaires own these social networks, and they are in control of the information that we send forth. That is problematic for me. When all of those people are not diverse and they are buying whiteness and this false sense of power, that is problematic for me. When people with money are quick to go up to space and do all these other things, and yet people are dying, people are hungry, we have wars going on, we have so much happening where a dime to your dollar could really obliterate it, but yet we're so quick to buy Twitter and all these other social networks like the metaverse and whatever Facebook and Instagram falls under. It is problematic for me, beloved. And I stopped by today to be in community because I'm tired, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, and I'm not sure what to do. Christina said our own thoughts that sneak their way into our minds as we go through. Whew, I need to try to save that and keep that up here. All right. Before we go on with what's going on and what's frustrating, can we insert a little joy in the building? Can y'all all send some love to my big brother Larry, who celebrated his birthday on yesterday? My brother is one of my biggest supporters, always looking out for me, always knows what I need before I need it. And then next thing you know, I got a package at the door for something that I didn't even know that I needed, like a blood pressure cuff. So can y'all say happy birthday to my brother Larry? So grateful that you had another turn around the sun. Looking forward to this next year of life, of love, of laughter, of family, of rest, of care, all of those things. All of those things. Yes, y'all wish my brother a happy birthday. For sure. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can see all the love from everybody. Yes, Uncle Mo. Affectionately known as Uncle Mo. Eric is very different from his mother, right? My son is just very different from me. He is very adventurous. I'm adventurous in a different way. Like my goddaughter said to me, God, mommy, you just pick up and go. When it's time to go, you were like, up, I'm moving to Atlanta. Up, I'm moving to Denver. Up, coming back to the East Coast. Up, leaving this job, doing it. So I'm adventurous that way. Eric is adventurous where he loves to travel. He tries new food. He does, things for the first time. I don't do that. I don't do that. But I say all that because Eric works out quite often. He's quite healthy. He eats well and he works out. And his goal is to be big like his Uncle Larry. He says, I want to be Uncle Larry big. That's his mantra to keep him encouraged as he works out and takes care of himself. So my brother is a role model, not only to me but to my son, and others. I'm sure, and others. Just the family man that he is, the loving family man that he is, and I am so grateful and honored to call him brother, as in we share the same blood runs through our veins. Happy birthday, brother. Many, many more. Look forward to celebrating many birthdays with you. Yes, thank you for coming on today so we can insert some joy in this frustrating day. Or even days for that matter. I just, yeah, I gotta take a breath for a minute. One of the other joyous things that I want to bring up during our time together is a quote by Karen Bigelow. Larry said, thank you, sis. Love you always. Love you too. Karen Bigelow, this quote just jumped out at me, and I thought about TWT. And she says, the most important lesson that I have learned from the bees is the beauty of community. And bees are at risk right now. The bee population is decreasing, and we need to take care of our bees for so many reasons. Bees are a very important part of this ecosystem. This is my PSA for today. But she says that she has learned from the bees. What she has learned from the bees is the beauty of community. Bees are not concerned about their individual selves. The survival of the colony comes before the needs of any bee, including the queen. So let's talk about that for a minute, because we talk about community a lot here on TWT, and building community and really learning what it is to build community. Community is not Stepford Wives, right? Where all houses look the same, everybody's dressed the same, everybody talks the same, everybody responds the same, everybody eats the same apple pie. That's not the type of community we're talking about. We're talking about a community of Ubuntu, right? The culture and the beauty of our morals and our values and our dignity that runs through our veins. We come with Ubuntu. I am because you are, therefore I am. The dignity that I have to see that same dignity in you. Otherwise, it becomes conceit. So in building this community, the individual bee, it doesn't necessarily mean that I, representing the bee, I don't care about myself. I only care about the colony because I am a part of the colony, which is Ubuntu. I am because we are. So at some point, I do need to care for myself and pay attention to myself and to pay attention to what's going on around me and how it impacts another, how it impacts me and how it impacts another. So in community, there is this reciprocity happening, whether it is intentional or unintentional, because our energy is shared. So if I'm in a situation, well, let's look at COVID for a minute. COVID got people really effed up. Like, just people are angry. People are shooting on this. I mean, and this stuff has been going on for quite some time, right? But it seems to be highlighted, escalated, elevated because of the frustration of COVID and this rich nation. It seems as if we're not doing enough to combat the problem. Like, people are cheering because they don't have to wear masks on planes anymore. But doctors and nurses and healthcare providers are in tears because they're running out of beds again. They have to go back to wearing the N95 mask, which is much tighter than the usual hospital mask that is a bit loose on your face. And now it leaves that scar and that imprint, and they're just tired. And they're like, these people are happy not to wear masks. And here I am working 12, 14, 18-hour shifts with this mask on to not only save my life, but to save the life of my family and to save the life of the patients. So with that, with all of that going on and the frustration, that tends to spread. Because that energy, that frustrating energy, that negative energy, that hateful energy, that disparate energy, that energy that just does not do us any good as human beings, as a community, as a culture, then spreads. So COVID has people very angry. People are driving at two near fatal accidents of two dear friends of mine. Talked about, I mean, they were in this accident, and not to say that it wouldn't have happened outside of COVID, but I watch how people are driving. I watch how people are not signaling. I watch how people are speeding. I actually watched, and I talked about this several episodes ago, about the two motorcycle riders who I saw them speeding by and really leaning into that curve, and all I could do was pray, because I was like, they're going to get into an accident. And lo and behold, right before I was getting off my exit, they were in an accident. And people were coming out of their cars crying. So I don't know what the outcome was, but it's sending this energy that causes one not to have the patience or the compassion or the love or the understanding. Everything is like, my way, this is it, don't like it, too bad. We'll have warring views, warring ideas, and we're going to go our separate ways. And community just does not work that way, beloved. It doesn't work that way. Tamika said the honeybee population decreased 40%. The annual rate in the winter was also 40% down. Experts describes this as unsustainable. If you go to greenpeaceusa.org, you'll see and learn about how important the bee population is to us. I know we run from them, and we don't want to be stung. Just don't kill them, okay? Don't kill them. Yeah, Christina, built up aggression and frustration. Tamika gave us a scripture, Matthew 22:39. So much for love our neighbor, right? We're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves, which then is a great segue, Tamika, which then brings me to, how much are we really loving ourselves in order for us to love another? Because we can't pour from an empty cup. We can't give what we don't have. So in order for me to love my neighbor, I need to love myself. And in order for me to love myself, I need to see beyond all of the physical. I need to see beyond any type of flaws that I think I might have, imperfections, because none of us are perfect. I need to see beyond that and really see my heart and my womb and my soul and my spirit, and truly understand and embrace who I am as a beloved, as a divine human being. The scripture, the full scripture, talks about love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. And so it comes from the Christian traditional scriptures, but there are other sacred texts that also talk about that. That talks about love. That's one of the commonalities with these different religions and different practices. Love is at the center of it. Love is at the center of the faiths, and building community. So why do I talk about this on today? I talk about this on today to really shift the focus onto ourselves as an important piece of community. Just like the bees are thinking about the importance of the colony, I have to think of myself as an important player in community. But before I do that as a human being, which separates me or makes me different because I'm an intellectual being versus a bee, I have an opportunity to think of myself, how am I adding value to this being in order for me to add value to the community, and also to see value in someone else so that we can build community together. So that means if your life experiences are different than mine, if I love myself, I can see the love in you and see the dignity that you don't even see for yourself. And then we can journey together, this dignified journey, this divine journey, this honorable journey. We now look at the houseless as human beings. We now look at the incarcerated as human beings. We now look at the impoverished as human beings. We now look at those who are have mental dis-ease as human beings. We look at those who are diagnosed with cancer and as human beings. We look at those who may not be billionaires as human beings. But we got to honor and see that for ourselves. Christina said, that's right. See myself, how Jah sees me, and love all of me. We can't continuously pour into ourselves, emptying ourselves and being poured back into. We can't pour from an empty cup. So even in community, even as we share, even as we love someone else, even as we help someone else, even as we journey with someone else, even as we accompany and love and show compassion to someone else, let us pause and show that same grace, mercy, compassion, love, patience, and support to ourselves, especially during these trying times when our history is they're trying to erase our history. They're trying to dehumanize who we are as Black and brown beloveds. They, meaning white power, white supremacy, white thought, all of that, to hold on to their false sense of power so that they don't lose it. Very individual thinking, trying to remove that from us. We must then combat that, not with trying to compete with someone that does not have my best interests at heart, not trying to combat someone that doesn't love me with unconditional positive regard, but looking at myself and how I fit into community and what can I do to make the change, to be the change that I want to see. What can I do as this divine, beautiful Black woman, Black man, brown man, First Nation, Indigenous, LGBTQ, what can we do to come together? Because there's more of our voices. I gotta believe this in my heart. There's more of our voices out there. And now we need to use those voices in order to bring into fruition the change that we want to see. And it starts with us. It starts with loving us, debunking the imposter syndrome. I am beautiful. I am honorable. I am divine. I am mystical. I am joy. I am grace. I am mercy. I am compassionate. I am resilient. All of those things. Keep saying those affirmations. Today, I had a meeting earlier today, and our visionary opened up with affirmations. I am affirmations. If you got to say that to yourself first thing in the morning, because let me leave you with this. You know, your mind is like an empty slate, right? It's like an empty plate. It's just until you fill it, until you put something in it, the mind itself does not have anything to work with. Right? So it's really your experiences that then feed your mind, and it's your mind that then tells your body how to respond. So if I am feeling a certain way, my mind in all its different compartments gives me the cognitive ability to make a decision. So if I then honor my feelings and say, you know, I'm really angry about that right now, and I honor it and acknowledge it, it just might switch that part of my brain, which will smack the mess out of you because I'm angry, to then step back and say, okay, how can I deal with this that honors me, that does not dishonor me, that does not get me into any trouble, that does not get me arrested, or these days even killed, because I don't even know if people go fisticuff anymore, right? So it's the feelings and the emotions. So with everything going on around us, stop and breathe, feel the feelings, and then take your soul, your gut, your womb, your heart, and your mind. Those three put together will help us to make better decisions for us individually as a part of the collective. Christina says, stop trying to fit the mold of the designed by the system and not fit us, and creating our own uniqueness. Take me as I am. Love me as I am. Take me as I am. Do we have work to do? Yes. Are there some places, spaces, things, experiences where we can grow? We have an opportunity to grow? Absolutely. Can we learn from our mishaps and missteps and mistakes? Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's the key, to learn from it and not stay there. Emily Town says, pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. So we're going to go through some pain in this life. We are going to go through some stuff, but we don't have to stay there, beloved. We don't have to suffer through it. We can find the joy and create the joy and create our response that is not going to cause me to suffer at the hands of someone else's hate or someone else's disdain or someone else's dehumanization of me, someone else's racism, someone else's sexism, somebody else's binary thinking, someone else's oppression or marginalization. I then take that pain and I grow from it. No struggle, no progress. That doesn't mean we have to suffer. It means that we learn and we grow individually as a part of the collective. I want to leave you with this. I was listening to, I don't know where I heard this, and it was about domestic violence. As always, I always have the domestic violence hotline up there, 799 SAFE. I always have the suicide prevention lifeline up there because these days people are really frustrated and tired and ready to give up. And if I can say anything to them right now, to you right now, don't give up. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are divine. There is help for you in community because healing happens in community. So I was listening to a woman, and I guess she was a domestic violence survivor, and she was saying that stop saying all women who are in domestic violence relationships don't love themselves, and this is why they're in this situation. And because I love myself and I always love myself, and then she went on to explain how she found herself in a domestic violence situation. And that's one of the blanket statements that, going back to blanket statements, that I push against, because we don't know what someone's situation or circumstance is in a domestic violence situation. But what we're not about to do is do victim blaming or victim shaming. We're not going to do that for those who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough. We are not going to do that for those who have not been afforded opportunities because of racism, because of classism. We are not going to shame our beloveds. What we are going to do is lift people up. So if you are in a domestic violence situation, it is not your fault. If you are in an impoverished situation, it is not your fault. If you are not in a position where you can go to college or even go to school because of situations and circumstances that are out of your control, it is not your fault. What you can do, though, is look at yourself and look at the mirror and remind yourself of who you are and whose you are, and how pain is inevitable but suffering is optional, and you can get out of that situation and grow through your experiences. How do you do that? Through community. I had a conversation with Eric the other day, and I was a little frustrated about something going on, and he said, "Well, did you think about this?" And because he said that, I was able to then shift my thinking and like, "Oh, okay, so when we share our stories in sacred spaces, somebody else just might have another thought for you, another option. They might even have an answer. They might even have another way out. You don't have to sit in that alone, because that's when we suffer in silence. When we sit in that pain long enough, we begin to suffer, and then we suffer in silence because there's guilt and shame that comes along with being a victim of domestic violence, with being a victim of sexual assault, with being a victim of racist behaviors, and the list goes on and on and on. So, beloved, Christina says, love them, understand, be present. Everyone's situation is different and journeys are different. Honor that. Know that, including your journey. So let's get rid of the blanket statements and let's look at ourselves. Because if we don't let our own light shine, and if we diminish our light or even put it out, how can we then ignite someone else when we don't even have a light to share? And the light is there. The light is there, beautiful. My beloveds, if you don't take anything else away from this vodcast, you are worthy. And you don't have to suffer through the heinous ills that is happening in this country. we can do this. We can do this in community. Ubuntu. I am because you are. You are, therefore I am. I love y'all to the moon and beyond. I'm so grateful that y'all continue to join me on Tuesdays. I'm grateful for the dialogue and the input and the comments. I am just grateful for your worth, your divinity, your love, your compassion, your beautiful energy, your prayers. So grateful. Carry that with you throughout the day. And tomorrow, if we are blessed with another day, carry that with you as well. Take a deep breath and say, I am worthy, and I have one more day to get it right. This is Dr. Tad, Reverend T, Tuesdays with Tawana, in the building. I am because you are. Can't do this without you. I love you dearly. Thank you for joining. Hopefully, I'll see you next Tuesday.